Hi everyone, Nagraj here. In this video, we will discuss about the active immunity, we will discuss about the passive immunity, vaccination, immunization, and lastly, allergy. So, these are the five terminologies about which we will discuss in this video. So, first, we'll begin with active and passive immunity. First, here we will look into the definition of active immunity. So, what actually the active immunity is called as? The immunity which results from the production of antibodies by the immune system in response to the presence of an antigen. That means if any pathogen, if it enters into the human body, so our body cells, WBCs, they shows a response against these pathogens which are entered into the body. How do they show the response? By the release, by the production of antibodies. By the production of antibodies, they show the response. Once the antibodies are produced, those antibodies, they destroy or they kill the pathogen which has entered. So this kind of immunity, it is termed as the active immunity. Now we'll discuss about the passive immunity. A passive immunity is a resistance to a disease or toxin where the resistance was gained without the immune system producing antibodies. Antibodies can also be passed from one organism to another. This can happen in many natural and artificial ways. That means here, once the pathogen, if it enters into the body, here the body cells are not preparing the antibodies. Here the antibodies we are giving outside to the patient whom infected with the such pathogens. So the injecting antibodies from the outside to the human body, it is fall under in passive immunity. The antibodies can be given from one person to another, or it can be taken from any other organism to the person. We will discuss an example. Antibodies passed from the mother to the baby before birth confer passive immunity to the baby for the first 4-6 months of life. So during the fetus development in the mother womb, at that time a number of antibodies will be passed to the fetus through the placenta. So this kind of passing antibodies to the baby, the fetus, it is also fall under in passive immunity. Even after the birth, a baby, at the time of feeding, mother feeding, milk feeding, the colostrum, it contains a large number of the antibodies, so that also falls under in passive immunity. Now we'll discuss vaccination. Injection of a killed microbe in order to stimulate the immune system against the microbe, thereby preventing disease. The healthy immune system is able to recognize invading bacteria and viruses and produce substances, antibodies, they are nothing but of antibodies, to destroy or disable them. Students, you might be knowing about polio. So polio is nothing but of a vaccination. So nowadays a huge number of vaccination are giving after the birth of a baby, because if a polio virus enters naturally into a human, so as you know what happens next. So to overcome from this problem, to overcome from this situation, what the doctors are doing now, they are giving a killed or disabled polio virus to a baby. So as it is a disabled, it doesn't cause any disease in the baby. So but the B cells or the T cells of the baby, the WBCs, the lymphocytes, they get a memory about the virus, the polio virus. So naturally, when a virus enters into a baby, I'm telling you naturally, from the outside environment, if a virus, if it enters into a baby, as the baby already will be having of immune against such viruses already, so it shows the very quick response against such viruses, and it eliminate the WBCs, the immunity of the baby will eliminate such viruses from its body. That means it either kills or destroys the pathogen. So that is how the immunity will be generated by the injecting of this kind of vaccines. The vaccines also generate memory, as we just discussed. They generate the memory, that is B lymphocytes and T lymphocyte cells that recognize the pathogen quickly on subsequent exposure, that means the second or third time, and overwhelm the invaders with a massive production of antibodies. Once the pathogen, if it enters, the B cells, they start off releasing a number of antibodies, massive number of antibodies, and that kills the pathogen. Now we'll discuss what is immunization. Both these two terminologies are related, the vaccination and immunization. That will we discuss now. It is the process whereby a person is made immune or resistant to an infectious disease, typically by the administration of a vaccine. So as we just discussed about the vaccination, once such vaccine is given, a memory generates, the immunity generates in a body. What we term this as the immunization. So both these two terminologies are interlinked. Students, now we'll move on to the allergy. You might be knowing about it, the allergies, the different allergies as we have faced in our lifetime. The aggregated response of the immune system to certain antigens present in the environment is called allergy. So allergy, any particles, if it enters into the human, as our system, immune system, it shows quick response. So at that time we may feel certain symptoms. We may get certain symptoms like sneezing, watery eyes, like that, right? So such immune system response towards such antigens is termed as the allergy. The substance to which such an immune response is produced are called allergens. So the dust particles, as just we discussed with an by taking an example, so such dust particles are also called as allergens. So here the antibodies produced to these are of IgE type of antibodies. So once if any allergens, the dust, whatever the allergens which causes allergy, once the allergens enters into the body, immediately our body cells, the WBCs, they start off producing of the antibodies, that is IgE type of antibodies. As we discussed in the last class, Ig stands for immunoglobulin and E, it is a type of antibody. So some certain common examples we will discuss about the allergens. So common examples of allergens are mites in dust, pollens from the flower, animal dander, etc. So these are fall under in allergens. Now we'll discuss about the symptoms. So symptoms of allergic reactions include sneezing, watery eyes, running nose, and difficulty in breathing. So these are certain symptoms of allergy, where the person starts immediately of sneezing and the eyes will be completely watery and the nose will be running and the person feels difficulty in breathing. So why does these symptoms will occur? What happens in the body actually? So that we discuss here. So allergy is due to the release of certain chemicals like histamine and serotonin from the master cells. So once any allergen, if it enters, our master cells, they start off releasing histamine and serotonin. So because of these two, we show the symptoms like sneezing, watery eyes, running nose, and difficulty in breathing. So that's all in this video, students. In the next video, we'll discuss the another topics of the chapter Human Health and Diseases.